Our consistencies helped us build an early lead in both championships, but that consistency is going to be put under threat today at the first sprint round in Spain. Hello folks, welcome to episode 70 of the career journey with Mercedes. My name's Aaron and today we are gearing up for a sprint weekend in Spain. The change layout in Barcelona might play well with a sprint race in the game and also in reality, in fact, because that fiddly chicane is gone and we love it. The race in 2023 was actually a bit of a success, I think. Championship wise, as we head to the next round, we are 18 days away still at the moment because there's a couple of things I want to update you on in between times. Championship wise, we are now 9 points clear of Red Bull at the top of the constructors after winning in Imola, and Oscar Piastri finished 4th. Max Verstappen crashed out, handing us an opportunity to go and claim that win. George Russell now leads by 27 points over Charles Leclerc, who's been pretty decent in the last couple of races, winning in he won in Singapore and he finished second last time out, didn't he, to us. Lando Norris is kind of also being quietly consistent, but not as consistent as George Russell, who's got 2 wins and 4 podiums, not finishing worse than second so far this season. Oscar Piastri is moving up the order. He is in 5th after finishing 4th in Imola, and I've started recording 18 days before the Spanish Grand Prix because there's a couple of bits that we're going to be manufacturing ahead of the next round. A new front wing and a new suspension. We're also manufacturing a new chassis design and some more side pods and another of those front wings. So we might even stop that actually. Just cancel that because we are doing this one. So that one will be hopefully ready in time for the race in Barcelona. So that's the update. I'll come back to you just before the weekend and show you how the car looks with the upgrades. Alright, well, this is a bit of a problem. We've had a fire at the factory and they're telling us not to continue manufacturing any car parts while the matter is investigated. The team are anxious to continue their work but must put safety first and ensure this doesn't happen again. It was only a small fire which was caused by the facility's power supply. Well, that's not good news, is it? We have no choice but to approve a pause in manufacturing projects and a factory shutdown for 12 days. So that means all of this is on hold. So we go into the next race with what we had before, which, well, let's see where it leaves us. We might as well do all of this now because I doubt anything's going to change. So let's have a look at our car performance. We're second for top speed, which is important in Spain. And medium speed is crucial, which we are 5th best at. So yeah, we're going to be relying on strategy today, I think, in this episode, and hopefully the results of this fire investigation being found quickly and meaning we can manufacture more parts. But a 5-day investigation, I've not heard of that, so we'll wait and see. But I'll get the team prepared for the race and I'll see you in qualifying ahead of the sprint. It's been very close in qualifying so far, less than 0.3 of a second covering the top 6 in Q2. Lando Norris putting in the best time so far, but we've just done runs on a single set of tyre in each session so far. Not that new tyres give you any benefit according to the game, because we put them on and we never seem to go faster. But let's see what we can do in Q3 and get ourselves sorted for the sprint. We might as well just go straight out. Okay, George Russell's first run in Q3. I think there's some Red Bulls coming out and a McLaren from the pit lane, but they're not going to get in our way, at least yet. There's an Alpha Tauri, which I think is Sonoda, just up the road. But we should be all right. Piastri with the fastest first sector so far. In fact, it was marginal. It was negligible, the difference between the two drivers. Piastri, of course, getting a slipstream. We might just avoid traffic here of Sonoda, or even get a tow through the final couple of corners. Here comes George Russell then. He's going to cut the beam. He goes and does a 13.1, the fastest time we've seen so far. That is a great effort from George Russell. Remember, championship leader by 27 points. Could lose the championship lead this weekend. And so far, it's a Mercedes front row, but only 3 drivers have set a lap time. Let's see what happens on the final run. Final laps of qualifying then. Here we go. We've got a toe off of Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc is already on a lap. He's done a personal best middle sector. We're going to be keeping an eye on Verstappen and Russell. Verstappen has just set the fastest time in the first sector. The gap between the two at the front is 0.04 of a second. Let's keep the sector colourings up then. Piastri not improving. A 22 flat from him. It's not that bad actually. It's probably not that much slower than his first effort. Verstappen, a personal best middle sector. Russell, also a personal best. I don't know what the difference is in the first sector. Let's see then what happens through the final couple of corners. Verstappen will be crossing the line any moment now. There he is. He crosses the line and stays second. George Russell has pole position in Spain for the sprint. Oscar Piastri gets himself up to P5 at the last second there. Lando Norris not improving in the middle sector. Can he do enough in the final sector to deny George Russell pole position? No, he can't. So it's George versus Max on the front row in the sprint, and we're going to look to keep it, at least George, at the front for the Grand Prix. There we go then, George Russell on pole position. I should mention there was enough parts to put onto George Russell's car before the whole fire fiasco. So he's got the new chassis, the new front wing and new suspension. Piastri sadly doesn't have any of that. He has just all the old bits that we had before, but it's not been too disastrous for him. He's only what, 0.2 off the pole position, so great effort from Oscar. Maybe a little bit concerning about our new bits, but we're on pole position for the first time this season, I think, so that's good. Alright then, here we go. Sprint o'clock in Spain. We've got 5 red lights. The lights are out, the race is on. It's a good start, I think, for George Russell. We're all on medium tyres by the look of it, because that was the only strategy that was possibly going to work. Piastri might even be up to P4 here. He looked like he backed out of that to me. Russell having to defend here from Leclerc, and the Monegasque is going for the lead. We've had a crash at the front, I think, or somewhere. I'm not sure who, but someone locked up. It doesn't matter. George Russell has retained the lead, balanced on the fuel. I have taken a couple of laps of fuel out just to try and ease the load on the tyres. They're going to be put through the ringer in this race. You can see 22 laps. They're only just going to make it to the end. Really, you might want to do a set of hards for this race. We're pulling away from Verstappen. I'm assuming he's on mediums. Everybody's on mediums. So, yeah, we're edging away from Verstappen, but Leclerc is coming with us. And I think this could be a real ding-dong scrap between the two drivers who lead the World Championship, albeit separated by 27 points. Russell moves to defend, and I think he's... Oh, Leclerc late on the brakes there. That was bold from the Monegasque driver, and the Red Bull is forced to the outside. Russell defends. Good job, George. Oscar is looking more in his mirrors, I suppose, at Gasly than he is ahead at Norris. So it's kind of 2 by 2 here until you get to Piastri, and then it's just everybody else. All right, we are on lap 6. We've held the lead. Leclerc hasn't really had a look at us, although he is less than 0.3 of a second back at the moment. We are able to currently look after our tyres a little bit more than he is because we're in clear air. Norris is doing the best job on his tyres. Piastri not doing such a good job because he's stuck in traffic behind Gasly, which means his tyres are overheating. I'm going to ask him to drive in clean air. So he might end up going past the Ferrari at some point because he did fall behind. And Gasly's kind of bottling him up. Russell defending again at the front. So not really too much to write home about at the moment. We've got another yellow flag. there. Gasly running wide. He's given Piastri the position. Lovely stuff. We will thank you for that, Pierre Gasly. Oh, red flag. Red flag. What's happened? Oh, Gasly's... Oh, dearie me. Albon, and I think that is... Who's in the other AlphaTauri? I'm not sure who it is. It might be Lawson. It's not Lawson, is it? But whoever it is has caused a red flag. So, oh my gosh, and now there's going to be rain. I didn't show this to you because it just said there was no rain expected in the race anyway. But it said potentially light rain. I guess that was in practice too. But now, looks like we might have some rain on the cards after the restart. This has thrown a real curveball at the race. So I think we get rid of this set of mediums. Could we go to the end on softs? No idea. We've got an extra set of mediums there. We've got a very used set of mediums there. We want to save 2 sets of mediums for the race. I think we put a set of softs on it. We've still got a set of softs for the race. If it's going to rain, we might be using the inters anyway. So I'm going to put soft tyres on both cars. Bit of a gamble here, considering what the weather's going to do. And we'll find out, I suppose. Yeah, it's raining. Everyone's on soft tyres. Well, I think there's someone on inters. What is going on? There's someone on inters. And it's going to rain and we're going to get intermediate territory weather. We need to deploy everything. This race has just been turned upside down. It was Jack Crawford, who I couldn't remember was in the AlphaTauri. Wow. What an explosive a few moments that was. And we're still leading, although Piastri has now dropped behind Tsunoda. Who's on the inters? Crawford, Vesti, De Vries and Stroll. Well, they might find themselves at the front of this race shortly, because everybody is going to need to pit. Let's see, when's it going to be roughly? Well, will we need to pit? What on earth is going on in this sprint? Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely mad. Russell has checked out at the front. I'm a big fan of that. That'll do. Oscar Piastri is battling with Lando Norris. They're wheel to wheel through the final 2 corners. That is scary stuff, I must say. And it's the Ferrari who comes out with the DRS and the position. So we'll have to try that one again, Oscar. We were actually only on top up for a moment there. It's now just starting to get wet enough for inters to be, I suppose, viable. Although we're still doing 16s at the front. George is absolutely tearing off. He's now 5.5 seconds clear of Verstappen as Piastri tries to make his way past Lando Norris. Let's push with the fuel, see if we can get this done down the pit straight. We'll even hop on board with the young Aussie. Lando moves to the inside. Are we going to have enough down the outside here with DRS? I think we might just. We're going to do a nice big harvest into turn 1. And through goes Oscar Piastri
Think about getting the pack back up.
for 4th position.
Yep.
We have lost 3 seconds though to the drivers
So
ahead.
no need to charge the pack.
So I think the AI has been looking after its tyres far too much. And we have been... Oh, there's Lando mugging us right off into turn 4 and snatching the position back. Well, at least at the front with Russell we are in control. We could probably even back off with his tyres and just look after everything. But with Oscar we do need to keep pushing and see if we can get this position. And we have got the position, and this time we have held on to it into the middle sector. Oscar Piastri now in 4th position, but his tyres have taken a rather fair beating in terms of their wear and their temperature. We are edging towards a millimetre of water on the track, but it's not really increasing all that intensely as Lando Norris dives down the inside into turn 1. I'm just going to move this through to the end. Actually, Gasly has got past Piastri now. That is unfortunate, but we are having to look after his tyres. He's so sort of destructive with them. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just doesn't like rubber, but we've now dropped off the back of the Ferraris and he'll start the race in 6th. But George Russell has just Since the red flag, he has disappeared. And we're now starting the final lap with him. And we're going to win the sprint. The first sprint of the season is going to be won by George Russell at a canter as well. Gasly's got himself up into third. Wow! The Gazman is on one. He's only 2.5 seconds behind Russell. Now the track is damp. It doesn't matter a jot because the race is about to finish and George Russell is about to win it. It's another 8 points for his championship. 4 points more than Leclerc. George Russell wins the sprint. A little bit of a chaotic race there. I won't lie. I hope the race, the Grand Prix, is a little bit calmer than that. But somehow I don't think it will be. Verstappen finishes a distant second. Gasly third. Leclerc fourth. Norris fifth. And Piastri. We didn't get the moves done. And he comes home in P6.
So you take the flag.
Strategy set then for the Spanish Grand Prix. Slightly tweaked strategy between the two drivers. George is going medium, hard, medium because we've got 2 sets of mediums available to us. I think we've got 2 sets of mediums available with both drivers. We could do exactly the same, but I've decided to put Oscar on a set of softs for his final stint just to give him a bit extra in that closing part of the race. I'm hoping George has an advantage. And even with the mediums, they'll hold up a bit longer. We can push them a bit more. You have to be very careful with the softs around Spain. They will just fall apart if you are a bit unkind to them. So our job is to be kind to the tyres and to win the race with George and get Oscar, hopefully, and finally, that maiden podium. So let's do a motor race. Alright, here we go then. Sun is shining in Spain, as it should be, you would expect. 5 red lights, the lights are out, the race is on. It's a decent start once again by George Russell. Max Verstappen has started on a set of softs, but he's already lost second place to Pierre Gasly. The Ferrari going around the outside of the Red Bull, but with the inside line, the magic inside line of F1 Manager, the Dutchman comes out on top. Piastri has held his 6th position, so we are just going to press on from here. Norris has got himself up into 4th spot, and Oscar is just taking a watching brief of Charles Leclerc. And in fact, he's not. He's diving down the inside. Absolutely love that, Oscar Piastri. You little ripper. But Charles Leclerc has come back and retaken the position. So that was sad. But at the front, Max and George have decided they're going to have a private race. And Verstappen on those softs is a threat early on, so we'll just... in fact, Piastri has now passed Leclerc. He didn't like the fact that Leclerc was back in front of him, and he's just dive-bombed him again. Absolutely brilliant from Oscar Piastri, and he's up into P5. Well, we're putting Verstappen under some pressure here, because his tyres are starting to feel a little bit second best, I would imagine. And I think George Russell is going down the inside of the Red Bull. There he goes. George Russell into the lead. Yes! Brilliant. George Russell has the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix, but Verstappen is about to get some DRS, which we will hopefully negate by deploying our battery and pushing on the engine. And this is half the reason we've had to change his power unit early, because we did keep pushing on the power unit. So we'll just look after it as much as we can. Piastri has stuck to his task in staying with Leclerc, who's having one of those off days again, and he's finding himself buried in the middle of the top 10. Verstappen, I don't know what tyres he started on, whether it was a used set or a brand new set. I'd have to check back the footage. I would assume he goes to a set of hards next. That would be the logical step, and then go to a set of mediums, but whether he goes to mediums and then hards and leaves himself super exposed at the end, we'll have to wait and see. Let's get to the first pit stop window, which will be, for us, lap 19, but for Max Verstappen it'll be a few laps earlier.
It's not going to be long now.
Right, we've just entered our pit window as Max Verstappen heads for the pit lane. It's a set of mediums for the Red Bull driver, so surely that means a set of hards for the final stint, because you'd have to really nurse those to get any sensible distance out of them. Just the pounding they take. And that leaves Russell with a 5-second lead over Lando Norris. Piastri has dropped off the back of Leclerc. We just wanted to look after his tyres and get him a little bit deeper into the race, because obviously he's got to put on, well, he's set to put on another set of softs. So, well, a set of softs, but we could always bring him in a bit earlier and convert him to a similar strategy to George. So let's get to the point where we box and see where we come out. Verstappen has come out in a whole heap of traffic. It's a trip to the pit lane for George Russell. Here we go then with the pit stop. Hard tyres going on. Nice clean stop. 2.4 seconds. Whoa! Whoa! 2.4 seconds. What have they been eating for their Weetabix? Wow. Right, let's see. Where is the Red Bull? It's still at the end of the pit straight. I think George Russell is going to be ahead of Verstappen here. And Verstappen's not even in the picture. Quite literally not in the picture. Right about now, so it's his turn to visit the pit crew. Is he going to get the same service as George Russell? We're looking for a 2.4. Looking for a 2.4. We got a 2.4. Two 2.4 second pit stops. And it still probably won't even be enough to put us in the top 10 fastest. So we'll wait and see. Piastri comes out just ahead of Drugovich. George Russell now has a 3.5 second lead over Max Verstappen, and Lando Norris has just pitted. So let's see how the next 10 to 15 laps pan out. Approaching the end of lap 35 then, in fact the start of lap 36. George now has a 5.5 second lead over Verstappen, who's clearly having to look after his tyres. Leclerc has had to go some to catch up with his teammate, and we're in a very, very good position here with George. Okay, Verstappen's probably going to get some form of undercut on us. The field is a little bit more spread out now, so he could be a bit more dangerous with that. He got stuck in so much traffic in that first stint. The whole point of starting on the softs is to get in front and get away. All that time he's spent stuck behind us, essentially. It's killed his strategy. Oscar is still in 6th place. He's just not got the pace. What is hurting him so badly is just how much he eats up the tyres. So I think we're just going to be in for a season where he is almost lucking into other results. And unless we do like wacky 3-stoppers, then maybe this is the season we're going to have with Oscar. Max Verstappen has just pitted and come out on a fresh set of hard tyres. So he's got to do 26 laps on those. He's stuck behind Tsunoda here. If he does get ahead of us, he is going to be a sitting duck out in the lead. And we're going to have so much more pace than him. Yeah, his strategy has fallen apart, regardless of whether he passes Tsunoda here or not. And he doesn't. The AlphaTauri is on softs. So Helmut Marko better get on the blower and get that car out of the way if he wants his driver to have any chance of winning this race. Alright, a bit of attacking on this in-lap from George Russell, because we'd saved that little bit of tyre, has meant we've got a 6.5 second gap back to Gasly. Nice, neat and tidy stop. Only 2.6. You're getting sluggish there, lads. But it's fine. No pit stop errors. That's the key. Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race and does undercut Russell, but comes out right in front of him because he's stuck behind Piastri, who is defending like an absolute legend and stopping the Dutchman coming past. Yes, Oscar. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Slow him down. Right now, get out of the way. There we go. There we go. He'll just have some free DRS off of his teammate. And George Russell is now probably about to overtake his rival for the victory. He's not close enough yet to make the move, but it's fine. There's plenty of time on our side. We'll bring him in on the next lap when he's supposed to, but he did a great job there. There's a Jack Crawford getting out of the way, or in the way even. But we're in a great position now to go on and just cruise to victory, he says, moments before a safety car probably. George Russell's made that overtake on Max Verstappen. Just cut to it there. Here we go. Let's get a replay. Very straightforward DRS move out of turn 9. The fast right-hander camps a corner down into turn 10. The corner which I don't think has a name, and if it does, I just don't know it. But we're in the lead, and that is all that matters right now. Gasly's in the pit lane, and we're in a very good position. Verstappen's tyres, they'll do okay. They'll hang in there for the rest of the race. Slightly slower stop for Piastri. I think he had to be held for the AlphaTauri coming in, which was unfortunate. He comes out actually in P7, 8, 9. Sargent will need to pit. Ocon won't need to pit, but will be faster than him. And Piastri's going around the outside of people here. He might make a double move. He's getting stuck right into it. Around the outside again. Having a car in the way is not his friend right now. Sargent went to the pit lane. And it's only the AlphaTauri got DRS. How is that possible? And we're just going to go clean around the outside at turn 3. Now to Hamilton-Rosberg corner. And finally, a lap later, the move is done. Oscar Piastri's just done the fastest lap of the race for an extra bonus point. Lando Norris is still yet to stop, and he might lose the lead before he does. Verstappen now over 5 seconds behind. He's no longer a problem. Is Norris going in the pit lane? No, he's not, so he will lose the lead before he goes into the pit lane. George Russell takes the actual lead of the race rather than just the effective lead. And now, basically, we need to just stroke it home. It's been a much more straightforward and sensible Grand Prix than the sprint was. Verstappen could have been a threat with his strategy, but he just, for some reason, he stayed behind us. I don't know whether we just had good pace at the start or he just wasn't feeling it. Very weird. It's been odd. Like Red Bull have been quick at points, but then they've soon disappeared with their pace, and Lando Norris could not have hoped for a better timing of a virtual safety car. He's going to come out in a tremendous position there. Okay, we are now on the penultimate lap of the race because after the virtual safety car there really wasn't anything to show you. We've opened up a 6-second lead on Verstappen. Piastri is struggling with his tyres because we pushed them too hard early on. But what we are going to do here, we are going to go for a fastest lap attempt with George Russell. I don't really think we'll get it, but let's just go for it for, you know, a little bit of fun. So we'll follow him round on his victory tour. Although I hope I've not spoken too soon. If you've seen my live stream or the short of it, we have seen a win thrown away by a driver I've been managing on the last lap. Esteban Ocon, the guilty party at Ferrari. Not a personal best first sector. What's the middle sector like? No DRS, so probably not. It is a personal best. I don't think it's going to be enough for the fastest laps, so we'll just turn everything down. There's no point. But it's been a brilliant performance by George Russell. He's controlled this race. He's dominated the weekend. And he takes another massive leap in his World Championship position. George Russell wins the Spanish Grand Prix, the first driver to go back-to-back in Season 4. And this quiet dominance is starting to get a bit louder. Oscar Piastri is coming home for 6th position. Russell is followed home by Verstappen and Norris, followed by Gasly and Leclerc. So that is a big old lead now for George in the championship. Here comes Oscar. He was a long way behind, bless him. But we've top and tailed the top 6 here between us, which I don't know how that leaves us in the constructors. We'll find out in a minute, but let's go to the podium and celebrate. George Russell climbs out of his W18 maybe, I think this might be. As a winner of another Grand Prix. His 3rd win in a Grand Prix of the season. Obviously he won the sprint earlier in the episode, so that's 4 wins of races already this season for George. And 3 constructors on the podium once again. Ferrari's challenge hasn't really materialised yet. It is Red Bull who are our closest competitors, but we just seem to have that little bit of an edge on them in race trim. Confetti and champagne, 2 of our favourite things. And the celebrations will continue long into the evening at Mercedes. Pierre Gasly got the bonus point for fastest lap for Ferrari. Ocon, Tsunoda, Sainz and Lawson round out the top 10. It was a bad day for Aston Martin at 17th and crashed out. Let's see the Drivers' Championships. And now Lando Norris is our closest challenger, but he is a whopping 41 points behind. Wow! I said the quiet dominance was getting louder. It's absolutely screaming. And Verstappen is now a point behind Norris. Then it's 3 points to Leclerc. Piastri is a few points behind Gasly now, having dropped a position. George Russell's absolutely crushing it this season. And we have actually gained 4 points on Red Bull somehow. Although that's factoring in the entire weekend. So, of course, I think the extra points we got in the sprint are doing that for us. But yeah, we're growing our lead in both championships and I love it. Brilliant from George Russell. 41 points already after just 5 rounds. This is real dominance now from George Russell. What a weekend that was in Spain. And make sure you join me for the next round, which I think is the Monaco Grand Prix. There we could see a bit of a surprise sprung from somebody. If you enjoyed this video, leave a nice big thumbs up on it for me. Subscribe for more F1 Manager content. I'll see you in Monaco. You're the best fans. Bye for now.